Hi, everybody. It's April 7, 2021. I will tell you outright, I am very upset. I am very upset about the amount of lying that is taking place. Now, it has been very, very obvious that these politicians, whether federal, local, state, politicians, they lie repeatedly. And we, as Americans, have accepted those lies. That can only put you on a road in a direction that ain't good. But now the lies are so outrageous. They are outright lies. They are easy to pick apart, easy to do the research to find out, oh, it's a lie. Our president is lying outright, along with his press secretary, along with a whole lot of Democrats outright lying, along with CEOs of corporations. And, the MLB, baseball, and the hypocrisy also is so in our face. I'm telling you, what do I do? Now, I've been a news junkie my entire adult life. Do I just become somebody else and just never go to any website that shows me any kind of news that's going on in this country? Is that what I have to do? I can't do that. That's not who I am. Yeah, I guess just watching, puppy and kitten videos. That's not who I am. It is very upsetting to see what is taking place. Now, this video is going to concentrate yet again on that Georgia law. But the context of this video is about lying. It's all about lying. And my God, if we could just tell the truth, call those out who lie, well, we could have a pretty good life. But that's just not how Americans communicate. Lying is really dangerous. People get destroyed by lies. I got destroyed by lies. My life got destroyed by lies. And perhaps that's why I get upset. Seeing, listening to, and watching the liars and the acceptors do this friggin' dance while we just continue on a daily basis to go further down this country getting destroyed. And frankly, yeah, I do think that most people should be really, everybody who is of sound mind should be upset. I would think that they are upset. Look at this, CNN, okay? Oh my God. They're just carrying forth, the lies during the Trump administration about the economy. The U.S. economy is growing at its fastest pace since 1984. Wow. Interesting date you pick, CNN. Orwellian? Yeah. Doublespeak? Newspeak? Yeah. Say whatever the hell you want to say. Who cares if it's a lie? That's what this country has become. And you cannot get anywhere good when that is what your country is. Yeah, the lies in this article, U.S. economy will surpass its pre-pandemic size as growth reaches 6.4% this year. The rebound will help the global economy expand 6%. There are already signs the U.S. recovery is gaining speed. American employers added nearly 1 million jobs in March. Oh my God. The biggest gains since August, the U.S. manufacturing sector. It's roaring ahead. Okay. I don't know. Life has become meaningless. It's a joke. It's a joke. That's what liars do. They render everything meaningless. Multi-speed recoveries are underway in all regions and across income groups. Every American is doing beautifully. Yay! Linked to stark differences in the pace of vaccine rollout, the extent of economic policy support, and structural factors such as reliance on tourism. Oh, that's right. We have an awful lot of people coming to this country to tour. Okay. Oh my God. And this, I mean, it's like I can barely stomach what is going on. It is so disgusting. Okay, this is a complete, abject, outright lie. The middle class is being destroyed. You know, I mean, the dollar, central banks retreat from U.S. dollar. U.S. dollar depreciated. And we do live in the golden age of Pinocchio. That's what we're living. Yeah, I just want to read a couple of paragraphs here. Dean Mackenzie Smith and I were at the University of West Virginia to hear a talk from Pulitzer-winning New York Times columnist Seymour Hersh on the 9/11 attacks and their aftermath. That was around the time he was deciding to separate from the Times organization because it was too often preventing him from telling inconvenient truths. While awaiting Mr. Hersh and curious about the youngers who were thinking what they were thinking, we asked one of them sitting next to us what he was going to do after graduation. He said he was studying public relations. No, neither Dean Mackenzie nor I are noted for our tact. But it was Mackenzie who asked him, "Isn't that the profession where they pay you to lie?" The younger didn't turn a hair as he replied, "Yes, and it pays well, which is why that's my major." That was April 25th, 2005. We've been a lying nation forever, only getting worse and worse. Everything is about material wealth. Kids are brought up, hey, no problem. I can lie. I'll make good money. We have major problems in our country. Major. But I want you to listen to just a few minutes of Gregory Mannarino. This is a video that he posted today. Meltdown. Meltdown. The economic freefall worsens.
Gregory Mannarino. It is Wednesday, April 7, 2021. Where to begin? It's already starting out to be a freak show day, but what else is new? I guess we'll start off with economic news. The U.S. trade deficit continues to hyper balloon, along with the debt. As a matter of fact, no surprise to you, we just hit yet a new all-time record high with regard to trade deficit here in the United States. It's not going to stop. We are in an economic collapse. We're not making anything. We're not exporting anything. So this is just the way it's going to go, with debts and deficits hyper ballooning beyond anyone's wildest expectations. And this is all, again, a plan. It's a scheme. to allow the central banks to own the world. But, you keep focusing on this, that, and the other stupid dog shit thing because that's what they're trying to keep you distracted with. I know that's not you if you follow this blog. Now, let's laugh a little bit, you and me. So, Jamie Dimon, the CEO of J.P. Morgan, said we are in an economic boom right now, and this economic boom is going to last through 2023. It's just beautiful. You can't make this stuff up. Again, these are the people who, they have some kind of a twisted agenda, and I think we all know that. They are desperately, desperately trying to convince us that what we are seeing is not real. Okay, that's the way it's going to go. So just ignore this nonsense and propaganda, fake news, whatever you want to call it, is out there.
And it really is out there. And it's not out there just about the economy. It is out there every issue that we face. Every issue. We are dying. We are dying here. The economy is pretty much a corpse. It's just laying there, brain dead, waiting for somebody to pull the plug. But, hey, you go ahead, listen, and read CNN and believe all the horse shit that you hear. Go ahead. You are absolutely 100% directly responsible. I used to say you were complicit. You are directly responsible for all the people who are getting destroyed that you don't want to look at because you're still comfortable. I'm pissed. It's got to stop. Can't we just make life somewhat meaningful? The truth is everything. The truth is everything. Everything. The truth brings meaning to our lives. The truth, in relationships, is everything. Honesty, truth, strengthens relationships. You can rely on one another. You can confide in one another without fear that someone's going to betray you. How many of you have that kind of relationship? Most people don't even have that kind of relationship with their significant others, with their family, and with their friends. American way. The American friggin' way. The economy is collapsing. Manufacturing is pretty much dead. Okay. What does that all mean, though? It means Americans are really suffering. But they want you to believe that things are okay. Things are okay. And those people who listen to these lies and accept them as truth, they don't want to hear from anybody having a hard time. Oh, you're just lazy. You're not positive. You're not out there trying to get a job. There's so many jobs. The economy is doing better than it was in 1984. Well, all right. Just, the Georgia law, the controversy, the boycotts, the fighting, the bullshit that we're hearing from the Democrats, from corporate Americans don't know that there was a merger between the U.S. government and corporations decades and decades ago. You don't know that we've been living under fascism for decades and decades. I saw it when I was like 21 years old in the very early 80s. It was obvious. Our representatives were not representing us. They were representing corporations. Corporations write the legislation. And then they hand it to some representative in the House or the Senate. Hey, introduce this bill. You can put your name on it. That's how it works. So corporations, that these corporate CEOs are coming out, speaking and taking the moral high ground on a legislation that was passed in Georgia, and they're lying about it. Do you not hear that they never, ever give any facts to support the claims that they spew on mainstream media? Okay. Okay.
Bill that was just signed from the governor. Community organizers have threatened boycotts on big companies like Delta, Coca-Cola, Home Depot, in part from some of the information that's come from the president. In his last news conference, he said that the bill requires voting to end early at 5 p.m. And you've said, and some others said, that words matter. The bill actually standardizes voting hours by counties and adds Saturdays and Sundays voting, and it also allows extended hours from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So is there going to be a correction
It
issue?
standardizes the ending of voting every day at 5, right? It just gives options?
7 to 7 is what...
It gives options to expand it, right? But it's...
No, it doesn't. This woman, her job is to justify, rationalize, or just make shit up so that the lies of the president maintain themselves. Okay. What I'm upset about is all you have to do is read the law to find out what she's saying, what Biden is saying, what the CEOs are saying. Outright lies. And this is all a manipulation because they know Americans are stupid, so they play them. And they know that an awful lot of Americans are still watching mainstream media to get, informed. Okay. They want to federalize elections. They're using the Georgia law to do it. Don't be surprised if the near future Biden suddenly signs an executive order to federalize elections. That would be an outrageous violation of the Constitution, but who cares? We're Americans. We don't have to really look into any details. We just have to listen to anybody speaking from our side, our team, because we only want the team to win. We don't care about the truth. All right. How can we get people to grow up, to be mature, responsible adults? How? I don't know.
Standardized it at 5. It also makes it so that outside groups can't provide water or food to people in line, right?
Okay. All right. I'm going to go through some of the law to show you. Now, you would think the press secretary of the president would actually read the law and then speak what the law says. And she's not doing that. She's lying through her teeth. And everybody should be upset. Democrat, Republican, those outside the matrix, everyone should be upset about this.
It makes it more difficult to absentee vote. Are those things all correct?
Voting on the day of is 7 to 7, and early voting can standardize adding Saturday and Sunday. So my question is the tone going to change out of the White House? Or
the tone for a bill that limits voting access and makes it more difficult for people to engage in voting in...
It's a lie.
Georgia?
No, that's actually not what the governor of Georgia has said.
Well, I think that is not based in fact what the governor of Georgia has said. So no.
That's right. He signed legislation and then lied about it. Really? That's what you believe? Ooh, okay.
Our tone is not changing. We have concerns about the specific components of the package, including the fact that it makes it harder and more difficult for people to vote by limiting absentee options, by making it not viable, not possible for people to provide water to people who are in line. But
okay, I can't. So the press some of the reporters, many of them from the, conservative side, actually have been asking Psaki, is Biden going to correct himself? And she's been asked that now numerous times, and she just continues to lie. She just continues to defend Biden, and they're lying about the law. So I guess, this is a tactic of liars. They continue to lie, and then it becomes such gaslighting that, you get upset. So here she is again.
The largest concern here, obviously, beyond her being treated in the manner she was, which is, of course, of great concern, is the law that was put into place, which, again, the president will have a statement from the president, I expect, later this afternoon on. It should not be harder. It should be easier to vote. We should not put limitations in place. People should be able to vote from home. They should be able to use absentee ballots. There should be a range of restrictions that are undone, not put back in place. And so...
So you should, in Georgia, have a law that states everything that we want, and then you won't be called racist. We truly are. Collectively speaking, the majority, we're not well people. We are so not well people, it is frightening. Here she is again.
Is the White House concerned that Major League Baseball is moving their All-Star game to Colorado, where voting regulations are very similar to Georgia?
Well, let me just refute the first point you made. First, let me say, on Colorado, Colorado allows you to register on Election Day. Colorado has voting by mail, where they send to 100% of people in the state who are eligible applications to vote by mail. 94% of people in Colorado voted by mail in the 2020 election.
And 90 or 94% of Georgians could have done the same thing, but they chose to go to the polls. Okay. The way they are twisting this, every American should be really concerned that all we now get are outrageous lies as this country is being destroyed. And like Greg Mannarino said, everything is a distraction from the destruction that is taking place. And the destruction, the agenda with these outright lies is the federalization of election laws. And that's why you have the CEOs involved. Because we are, and we were, for a very long time. We were back in the 1980s. Corporate America. It's a corporate takeover. It's a corporate takeover of the world. You should be very concerned. Everybody should be, and I know that a lot of you listening are. But every American should be really concerned about this. Get off your friggin' team and start focusing on what is the truth. All right. Georgia law is very similar to Colorado. And isn't it interesting? Here, okay, it's a racist law. Jim Crow on steroids in Georgia. Really? Nowhere near it, but hey, say it, Joe. Come on, man. Say it, Joe. I wish. I don't know if I do wish. I listen to people. They report the news. Their, emotions are very, controlled. I guess the word is. I'm mad. I'm angry. This should not be happening. And, you know, I want to see something go right. I want to respect people. I want to hear from people who are as upset about the lying that is taking place, the destruction that is taking place. Their fellow Americans who have already been destroyed by these lies, by the agendas. And I don't. Apple joins corporate backlash against Georgia voting law. Well, let me just go to the law, okay? Now, voter ID laws by state, and I will link below to this. As of April 2021, and Ballotpedia, I mean, it's really very easy to check out what your laws are in every state. And I was listening to this. The mayor of Atlanta, I can't remember, Keisha, I don't even want to say a name because I can't remember. She's come out with her own, I don't know what they call them, but the news reporter actually called it an executive order coming from the mayor of Atlanta. And I thought, well, yeah, we do have the United Nations governance now where everything is local. But she signs this law to remedy the legislation passed and signed by Kemp in Georgia, and there's no remedy in it. It's about educating Georgians about, how to vote in Georgia. Not much was changed. So the other side of this, it's so demeaning to black residents in Georgia. Like, you can't figure out things. So this change in legislation that you have to provide a photo ID for the absentee ballot, the signature, which is what was required for absentee ballots, well, it was holding up elections in Georgia because they had to, look at the signature on the absentee ballot and then make sure that it was looked the same as the signature for registering to vote or something like that. So they just decided to do away with the signature, just, provide photo ID. Oh my God, that's so racist. I can't believe it. I could even say those words coming out of my mouth because it was so racist. And how is it racist? Because, well, that applies to all residents of Georgia. All. Not, I could understand if, absentee ballots, black residents in Georgia, you have to provide a photo ID. No, doesn't say that. Everybody. Okay. But 35 states enforced voter identification requirements. A total of 20 states require voters to present photo identification at the polls. Federal law requires a new registrant to provide either a driver's license number or the last 4 digits of their Social Security number at the time of registration. Many states require identification, allowing voters to cast provisional ballots. So, all right, I was going to read all of this. If you're interested in the truth, you'll click on the link and you'll read. Okay, it's easy though. Photo ID in Alabama. Valid form of identification at the polls in Alaska. Some states require photo, some states don't. So it's not just Georgia that's Jim Crow on steroids, I guess, huh? Arkansas, photo ID requirement. All right, so you could go through this, and the other page. Okay, on March 25, 2021, see, it was updated. Kemp signs into law, which you can even read the law. It's 95 pages. I read some of it. And, well, this is what they know. People won't go take a look at the law and read it themselves. Now, most legislation is written in a way for people not to understand. It's hard. You know, it's very laborious to go through the reading of it because it's so friggin' wordy, and you have to, and I, even as an attorney, I have to read, you know, some paragraphs or sentences over and over again to get an understanding of what am I reading here? Okay, but what's it called? Election Integrity Act of 2021. Now, if you believe the horseshit that there was no fraud, nothing going wrong, as the Democrats say, in Georgia for the 2020 election, well, then you might believe all of this horseshit. But all we're getting is horseshit. Certainly from the Democrats. So, they wanted to streamline, make it more efficient, get rid of the signature because it requires, you've got to match signatures with the absentee ballot with another signature. Earlier, it was getting too lengthy, so a photo ID certainly would make it more efficient. And they wanted to, you know, just clean up the election law so they didn't have the problems that they had during 2020. There's nothing wrong with what Georgia has done here. And understand this, I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat. I walked away a whole long time ago, far longer than that hashtag walk away, but I didn't walk to the other side. I walked out of the friggin' theater, the absurd theater going on in the United States government, local, state, federal. And I've been looking at everything from the outside. It's insane. Those who are stuck on a team and have never stepped outside to take a look at what is going on, well, they're just part of the absurd theater. They might be audience members, but, well, they need those members. They need an audience. So you are absolutely, directly part of the surreal, absurd play going on. And, you know, that really should. I mean, people is really, that's what your life is about? Okay, the new Georgia permits online voter registration. Georgia permits early voting and no excuse absentee voting. No excuse means you don't have to provide. Some states, you need to provide, you know, an excuse for why, you know, you're wanting to vote absentee. Georgia requires no excuse. You want to vote absentee? Georgia's not asking. Why? Go ahead and do it. In Georgia, polls are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Not 5 p.m. like Psaki said. 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Georgia requires photo identification to vote. Oh, God. How dare you, Georgia? Now, it does not practice automatic voter registration. Georgia has implemented an online voter registration system. Well, that's cool. That's easy. does not allow same-day voter registration. A whole lot of states don't. You must be a resident of the state, but they don't specify how long. A Georgia state law passed in 2009 required voters to provide proof of U.S. citizenship when registering to vote. But as of March 2019, the law had never been implemented. 2013, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that states cannot require proof of citizenship with federal registration forms. Oh. Well, you would think that requirement would be standard, but not in the good old U.S. of A. When we are opening the borders, allowing so many illegal immigrants to cross over. They have a site, My Voter Page, run by the Georgia Secretary of State office, allows residents to check their voter registration status, permits early voting. Early voting permits citizens to cast ballots in person at a polling place prior to an election. It states that permit early voting. A voter does not have to provide an excuse. All voters are eligible to vote absentee. Oh. So when Psaki says 90 or 94% of those in Colorado voted by mail, or so what? So friggin' what? Oregon, that's how you vote, I believe. I don't think they have polling stations. Or Washington has an awful lot of people mailing in their votes. So what? It doesn't make you racist. You're a racist state. And now we're going to boycott you and have, baseball all-star, the all-star game in Denver, which is virtually a white city, pulling they're talking racist. So that hurts, non-white people pulling the baseball out of Atlanta, going to Denver. Who does that hurt? It only hurts the business owners, all races, but there's an awful lot of black business owners in Atlanta, the vendors. They lose about $100 million. But they care so much. They care so much about the non-white population. It's all bullshit. It's all friggin' bullshit. And I don't like life being bullshit. I just don't like that at all. I'll link below. You can read absentee, signature requirements, cure provisions. If there's a problem with that ballot, the signature, you get to cure it in Georgia. The photo identification, there were some who were screaming about, there are other states where you can just provide, a utility bill. Fine. In Georgia, they want a photo identification, an ID, accepted. Every state has accepted IDs, and they're essentially the same for every state. A passport, military photo ID, tribal photo ID, a driver's license, or an ID card that's issued by the county registrar or the Department of Motor Vehicle in that state. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. What is going on? Again, I'll go back to Jonathan Turley's site. He, a constitutional law professor, Harvard, I believe. Facts first. CNN host Don Lemon insists Biden misspoke. Washington Post gave Biden 4 Pinocchios for his misspeak. But Psaki is still at it. Psaki is still at it. Lying. She should be fired. She should not be the press secretary. Biden surely shouldn't be our president. The Washington Post issued a rare rebuke of Biden. See, it's so obvious. It's so obvious. It's so easy to find out. So easy to find out. That's why the Washington Post had to issue the 4 Pinocchios. That's why Lemon had to finally say, well, okay, he misspoke. Because it's clear on its face what this law is and what you're hearing from the Democrats and these CEO crazy friggin' nut jobs is an outright lie. But they'll maintain it. They'll keep it up. And those who are on the Democratic team, they won't listen to reason because the reason. I used to think the Democrats were the reasonable. They reasoned. I was a Democrat. They don't reason. They're as batshit crazy as their batshit crazy Democrat legislatures. AOC, the least effective member of Congress. AOC. Queen of Twitter, but least effective congressperson. Well, I apologize. I had someone come over, and it's been a while since I was able to get back to this. Can't remember where I was, but yeah, the Democrats have literally just gone over the edge. And, how is it that this woman has been able to garner so much media attention? Could it be that there are people behind the curtain propping this woman up who really is truly batshit crazy and stupid? Yeah. Well, she gets the media attention because the powers that be chose her to be the socialist who will bring in a lot of millennials, a lot of young people. They're like, wowed, oh, AOC, but she's truly stupid. And unfortunately, Americans really don't know how to think. And what's most important to them is the personality, not the truth, not facts or evidence, and certainly not their own freedom. They get so enamored by personalities. She's the queen of Twitter, but less successful at lawmaking. Nothing. Introduced a total of 21 bills, which the center defined as substantive. Well, who knows? Substantive. But that is where the story ends. No action in committees, no floor votes, nothing ever became law. Yeah. Ineffective. But crazy, Here, this was back in March 2020. AOC rips Republicans because the coronavirus stimulus bill doesn't include cash payments to illegal immigrants. Who in their right mind would think that American taxpayers have to give money to those who illegally cross the border? But she doesn't stop. This year, just I think a week ago, she called for reparations for migrants. Reparations. Because they're not treated well at the border. And yeah, she believes that they should get reparations. Okay. I'm sorry, the country has just gone over the edge. The Democrats leading the pack. Gillibrand, this guy, Christian Gillibrand. Okay, tweets. Paid leave is infrastructure. Childcare is infrastructure. Caregiving is infrastructure. Really? Wow. Well, it used to be that infrastructure was roads and bridges, but because the Democrats are getting a lot of flack. You know, that infrastructure bill? Well, it has an awful lot in it that doesn't go to infrastructure. But hey, why don't we just redefine everything? That's what the Democrats do. Hell, that's what AOC did. Yeah. How about Rita's weekly reality check? This is what mainstream media in other countries, they must be laughing hysterically. But here, this is, you need to watch this. AOC, a full-blown nincompoop.
2 million illegal immigrants arrived this year alone, thanks to the Democrats' reckless rhetoric and policies. This week, after being shamed into addressing the crisis, AOC posted this bizarre explanation for the massive surge in illegal border crossings. Apparently, it's not Biden's repealing of Trump-era laws behind the influx, but climate change.
Because it's not a border crisis, it's an imperialism crisis, it's a climate crisis, it's a trade crisis. And also, it's a carceral crisis, because as I have already said, even during this term and this president, our immigration system is based and designed on our carceral system.
She really is special, isn't she? And as we see facilities that are 1,700% above capacity with children piled on top of each other, AOC wants to obsess not about the human suffering she's helped cause, but the semantics.
They want to say, what about the surge? Well, first of all, just gut check, stop. Anyone who's using the term surge around you consciously is trying to invoke a militaristic frame. And that's a problem.
Now, as you all know, English is a second language for me. But even I know surge is not a militaristic word. It literally means a strong, wave-like forward movement, rush or sweep, or a sudden and great increase. Why does Alexandria think the term surge is invoking a militaristic frame and white supremacist tropes?
Because this is not a surge. These are children. And they are not insurgents, and we are not being invaded, which, by the way, is a white supremacist idea, philosophy.
Oh dear God, she's gone full-blown nincompoop. Surge, insurgent, get it? But an insurgent, AOC, is someone who is fighting against the government in their own country. The origins of the word are Latin from the word insurgentum, literally meaning to rise against. It has nothing to do with surge. It's like the word nincompoop has nothing to do with the word poop. You see, a nincompoop is a foolish or stupid person, while poop refers to excrement, or the rubbish that far-left ideologues like AOC spew when their toxic activism bears fruit. Now, AOC may be considered among the US's least effective lawmakers, ranking 230th out of 240 Democratic members, according to a study by the nonpartisan Center for Effective Lawmaking, which looked at more than a dozen metrics, including the number of bills a lawmaker sponsored and how far each of those bills advanced through the legislative process. But though AOC fails at lawmaking, we must not underestimate her impact in adding to the race-obsessed climate of hate and hysteria in the US, or her influence in seeing the Democrats embrace reckless policies that have guaranteed a surge at the southern border.
Democrats, it's your party that's spewing the hate. It's your party that is primarily destroying this country. It's your party that does, wow, you are good at lying. And the Republicans, where are they? How is it that they can't counter these lies? Well, yeah. Now we have Gillibrand. Oh, paid leave is infrastructure. Surge, insurgent. Childcare, caregiving, it's all infrastructure. Well, people shot back, of course. Chicken is time, 7 is purple, helium is asphalt. Live, laugh, infrastructure. The border wall is actually infrastructure. I am infrastructure. If everything is infrastructure, then nothing is. War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. 2 + 2 = 5. Channeling Orwell today. Are we, Kirsten? Kirsten? Is mayonnaise infrastructure? Dictators also change the meaning of words to obtain and maintain power. And that's very true. So, strong fathers, nurturing mothers, one-income households, all infrastructure. So what isn't infrastructure? Oh my God. Gummy bears, stuffed unicorns, scented candles. It's all infrastructure. Do you see, Democrats, you guys, that never listen to me, never watch my videos? I am just talking to the wind. Your party is crazy. And if you support your party, you're crazy. Here, this guy, Illinois, state senator, who sponsored elimination of cash bail, is mad because a guy who threatened him with a gun this week only had to post $1,500 to get out of jail. You're not just crazy, you're also incredibly... The hypocrisy of the Democrats, so far worse than the Republicans. I don't know. Are you in competition? Do you want to be the best? You want to be exceptional? Well, state senator who sponsored elimination of cash bail now upset because the senator who sponsored the cash bail ban is outraged. The driver who threatened this LG Sims, he's outraged that man got out of jail on such a minimal bail, and he can threaten others. Oh, boy. And CBS, corporations, media, they're all behind it. They're all behind this Georgia law thing, right? Just keep lying. The thing that really upsets me is that I thought I could get away from my family of origin, that nuclear family, the narcissists, the liars. I can't escape it because it's all over. CBS News. They pulled this, but it's archived. They pulled it because they got a lot of flack. Excuse me, CBS News. You're helping corporations, showing them the way to fight Georgia's restrictive new voting law. Interesting. CBS giving tips to corporations how to fight. Objectivity? Do not donate. Spread awareness. Fight for federal law. Bada bing. There it is. There it is. Right smack in your face. That's what that is about. And they don't care who knows the truth. They'll just keep lying because the majority of Americans also don't care. And they can get away with it. They can get away with it. Election fraud is a big deal here in our country. But the Democrats claim there was no fraud in Georgia. Oh, really? Okay, get it, Democrats. Media, Democratic Party, attached at the hip. So, you can read these articles, Jonathan Turley, man. Lemon lashed out at critics of Biden as incredibly dishonest and openly partisan for his statements on an election law. Lemon mocked those raising the issue. Get this. Republicans have a new talking point, trying to turn Trump's big lie onto Joe Biden, saying Joe Biden is lying about what's in Georgia's new voting law that restricts ballot access. The new GOP talking point, trying to turn Trump's big lie onto Biden for misspeaking. No, lying. Lemon. Lying. How many times did Biden repeat the claim? How many times has Psaki lied? The Jim Crow on steroids. Imagine passing a law that says you can't have water or food. It's not true. You can't have water or food. People passing out water and food within a limited area of the polling station, but just a short distance you can, to prevent people on either side trying to, influence people right before the vote to vote a certain way. That's all. That's what this is about. Are you going to close a polling place at 5 o'clock? No, it's 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then Saturdays to 5. And then the option is on Sunday. 2 Sundays. That's the option. You can open up your polling places on a Sunday if you want to. That's it. Previously discussed. It's hard to imagine because it's not true. None of it is true. White House knows it. They know it's not true. They're lying through their teeth. So Jonathan Turley writes, I will not repeat the clearly false claim about closing polling places early. Washington Post noted the net effect of the Georgia law is Washington Post noted the net effect of the Georgia law expands the opportunity to vote. Expands the opportunity to vote for most Georgians. Doesn't limit it. It doesn't limit it. This is really important. This is really important. The lying has become so outrageous. The usurpation of power and control from local and state governments has been going on for decades. The centralization of power has been going on for decades. Centralization of power in the federal government. They want to centralize power over the elections. But the lying has become so extreme where it literally takes 2 minutes to find out. But this is a totalitarian society. This is a communist society. You speak the truth, it's almost like not a damn thing you can do anymore or say anymore that evokes tradition, nothing conservative, not the truth. You go against the left view, even when you confront them about their lying. It doesn't matter anymore. This is what pathologically narcissistic people do. The pathological narcissist will not stop lying, even if you confront them. This whole country is run by psychopaths and narcissists. Pathological. And it's only up to the American people to stop it. You know, even CNN eventually called out the claims as untrue. CNN's fact checker Daniel Dale noted that Biden's statement is misleading for two reasons. First, the new law does not change Georgia's election day voting hours, which still end at 7 p.m. But we heard this very sick woman, she kept saying 5 p.m., 5 p.m., 5 p.m. 7 p.m. Second, while the law does set a default end time at 5 p.m. for early voting on weekends and on Saturdays, counties were already allowed to end early voting at 5 p.m. under the previous law. The new law gives counties the option to offer early voting as late as 7 p.m. if they want to on weekends. And they don't have to have votings on Sunday, but if you want to, go ahead. Biden and the White House have also pushed the claim that Georgia will not let voters receive water at polling places, which is demonstrably untrue. The law does not prevent people from giving water to those standing in line. The law allows self-service water from an unattended receptacle for voters waiting in line. It also allows anyone to give water or food to any voters outside of the limited area around the polling place. We have people saying Republicans wouldn't give Jesus water. I'm sorry, Democrats. It's up to you. It's up to you to put a stop to the hatred that is spewed by your party. Complaints in the last elections that campaigns were circumventing the rules by distributing water and food within the limited area to influence people to vote a certain way. Biden misspoke repeatedly when his press secretary is still trying to claim that he spoke truthfully. The claims on the hours and water were the primary reason cited for claiming that the law was worse than the Jim Crow laws. And it's an abject lie. The law does mandate voter identification, but so do many blue states like Colorado. Americans continue to overwhelmingly support mandatory identification rules for voting. 75%, there's 63% of Democrats support mandatory rules. Why is nobody asking any questions? What in the law is worse than Jim Crow? Why is mainstream media not asking any questions of all of these CEOs who are coming out, Delta, Coca-Cola, Apple? Why are they not asking questions about how they are perceiving this law as racist? What is racist about it? Because they can't answer that, and they're all colluding for centralization of power. Look, yeah, I go on and on and on. But calling everything racist when it's so not. You know, cannot lead anywhere good. It cannot lead anywhere good. We are on a really bad road here. Really bad road. And there's an awful lot of Black Americans who are speaking out, but they don't get mainstream media play because they're not speaking the official narrative. Charles Barkley, for one.
Shared that news, how painful it was.
Yeah, but the one thing I took out of that piece was, man, I think most white people and black people are great people. I really believe that in my heart. But I think our system is set up where our politicians, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, are designed to make us not like each other so they can keep their grasp of money and power. They divide and conquer. I truly believe in my heart most white people and black people are awesome people, but we're so stupid following our politicians, whether they are Republicans or Democrats. And their only job is, hey, let's make these people not like each other. We don't live in their neighborhoods. We all got money. Let's make the whites and blacks not like each other. Let's make rich people and poor people not like each other. Let's scramble the middle class. I truly believe that in my heart.
And so do I. And so do a lot of people. A lot of black people. A lot of white people. So, calling everything racist when it's so not, and it's clear that it's not, that's what is crazy. They literally, the gaslighting is so obvious. We have sick people in positions of great power spewing abject lies about our reality. I mean, that they could come out and speak what they're speaking about this Georgia law that's as innocent as every other election law in the 50 states, but claim that it's Jim Crow on steroids. And they continue it. It means that we're living in a very sick country, filled with very sick Americans. We've allowed this to go on. When you allow sick people to just continue spewing whatever their sickness is, it only gets worse. Now we're living so worse, it's beyond belief. Now, Republicans also, Democrats are jumping ship. Here, a letter from Mayor John Lee, Nevada. Like every Nevadan, I grew up in awe of the American experiment. As children, we looked up to the flag and were proud of what it symbolized and what it stood for: freedom, opportunity, and promise. Back then, we knew both parties, despite their political differences, shared the same values. Like so many other Nevadans, I registered with the Democratic Party because Democrats seemed to be the party of the working class. As a dishwasher, joining a union, that's what it was. It still is important to me. But the Democratic Party radically changed. They've embraced a socialist extremist agenda that is not the party of JFK or my parents. Their ideas hurt working class people, restrict freedom, and extinguish opportunity for millions of Americans, particularly working class minorities. You think they care about you because the color of the skin you have? You are so out of your mind. That's beyond belief. So, here in Nevada, we've seen the full takeover of the Democratic Party by admitted socialists. They're right out there. AOC. And their goal is clear: ending the America we know and love, replacing it with a culture of socialist conformity that erases freedom, opportunity, and liberty from the American canvas. It's true. It's happening. Every single day, it gets worse. So here he announced on his site that he registered as a member of the Republican Party. Though I've been registered Democrat on paper, I made the switch in my heart a long time ago because on some things there's simply no compromise. That's it. You know? I mean, no to Jim Crow. Black votes matter. Holy shit. Americans, they're gone. They're mentally ill. They're sick. Corporate America's big lie. And that's true. This is an opinion piece. I couldn't get the whole piece. But it's moving directly to an economic sanction suggests that this Manfred, by the way, Major League Baseball, the commissioner, activists urge Commissioner Robert Manfred to punish Georgia. So, you know, it's an economic sanction when you pull out of a city and go to another city. But it's interesting because they pulled out of a black city. Atlanta has an awful lot of black residents. They went to a white. They gave the $100 million to a white city. You know, what he didn't do, he didn't limit the number of home games the Atlanta Braves will play. He'd need the approval of the Players Union to do that, the Braves, and the owner. So all he did was pull out the All-Star game. But what's interesting is that the corporations calling for boycotting Atlanta or Georgia, the All-Star game, the Major League Baseball, they're all working with China. They so care about black people, but they don't care about all the people that China is killing, you know, and forcing into detention camps and torturing and raping. No, that's okay. I don't know what to do with this country anymore. But by the way, executive action on guns comes tomorrow. And what's he going to do? Oh, wow. What a repulsive human being. So, yeah. Red flag laws, I think, will be national. Made national. They'll try. Keep guns away from people believed to be a danger to themselves or others, as well as a ban of assault weapons and high-capacity magazines and yada, yada, yada. Americans, you need to really care about the truth, okay? You want to live in a sick society and listen to this crap that you get from these disgusting, despicable, repulsive people? Really? Because the majority manifests reality. And our reality today, the majority have manifested a reality where we're living in a psychiatric institution. That's what life has become. I'm not happy about it. I know a lot of you are not happy about it, but I would like to get rid of the liars. I would like to get rid of the liars in this country. All of them. Disgusting. Right here. You're looking at disgusting.